Okay, let's do that now. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is Sherman Ray to the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk to you about the people, places, trends, and events that shape the city of Las Vegas. And it is Friday, as I was saying before, and it is also Veterans Day. So congratulations and happy Veterans Day. And thank you to all the veterans that are out there, including my dad and my sister, Crystal. My dad who's passed away, and my sister who is still here, and she's as lovely as possible. And all the veterans that are out there. I mean, there's tons of veterans all over the valley and all over the world that we want to thank you all for what you've done for us. Keeping us safe and allowing us to have free and fair elections. And so we're hoping, and we're going to focus in on kind of half and half today. So we're going to focus today on Veterans Affairs, and we're going to also focus in on the elections that just happened a couple of days ago. So we've got to recap on that, folks, because that's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine, and my wife was asking me about that today, as a matter of fact. She's going, Sherman, you're really not doing a lot more with the magazine. Why, you've got to put out more stuff. And I said, you're right. I've just been getting so busy, though. It just, so we're at a crossroads, folks. We're just at a crossroads with everything else. And we're doing the podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we still do that, which is real cool. We enjoy doing that. So I'm going to go over to our Facebook page, our group page. And so if you have any kind of questions you'd like to ask, or you want to say something like that, definitely chime in. I'd love to hear from you this morning. And I'm on the page now, so you can actually check it out and let me know if you've got anything you'd like to talk about. And on this, I think the kids are off today, so the kids are out of school today, which is pretty cool. As a matter of fact, when I was leaving, coming back, picking up the lovely Mrs. Ray, or dropping her off at work this morning, I noticed that the streets were much calmer, very nice. I drove through Rancho Circle this weekend, today. If you ever get a chance, just drive through Rancho Circle. It's still green, it still looks lovely, and it makes you, it reminds you of old school Vegas when you get to see that stuff. So that's always I love driving through Rancho Circle. Anytime I can get a chance to go down that way, I do. So let's do this. So today we're going to talk a little bit about veterans. We're going to talk about the election that just happened. So much to talk about. I hope we can get it all in, plus much more. Really will. So let's take a real quick break, folks, and we'll be back in a second with more of Livin in Vegas podcast with me, your host, Sherman Ray. We'll be back in a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, and we're back, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to welcome you all back to the show. And today we're celebrating Veterans Day. We do this once a year, and we actually are coming up on our year anniversary. So I think we've actually passed a year. We started the show, I believe, in October of 2021. I believe that's when we started the show. Don't quote me on that. I'll take a look back, find out when that was. But we're over a year now. And we've just had a great time. There was a time when we had the show 5 days of the week, and now we're down to 3 days of the week. So it's just it's a labor of love. It's fun. We love to talk to you about what's going on in Vegas and keep people abreast of what's going on in Vegas. So today there's a Veterans Day parade this morning, and let's see, the annual Veterans Day parade expected to be bigger, better than past years. There are 5,000 people taking part in the downtown parade Friday, which is today. And the parade's going to start off 4th Street and Gas. I didn't notice them this morning when I was down there. And then head north on Stewart Avenue. So we'll actually leave this link on our website. We'll definitely post it on our Facebook page too, so you can check that out. Starts about 10 o'clock, and there'll be a flyover by, who's it, the Thunderbirds maybe? Are we going to get Thunderbirds? Because we're next to Nellis and stuff like that. Marching bands, dance teams, youth groups. Oh, let me move up a little bit. Youth groups, businesses expected to be involved. And afterwards, in the event to be held at the Nevada Veterans Memorial, which is, an event is going to be held at the Nevada Veterans Memorial, which is located at Grant Sawyer Building, Las Vegas Boulevard, Washington Avenue. So it's just right down the hill. So some of you probably don't know this, but before the Grant Sawyer Building and all that stuff was built down there, that used to be a park. It was just a big park down there. And it started from, Las Vegas Boulevard to Main Street, and it went all the way down. It was, so in front of the Cashman Field, that whole park, and I forgot what the name of it was, to tell you the truth. It wasn't Fantasy Park. I'll have to remember. But we used to go there as kids all the time. As a matter of fact, when we shot off fireworks at 4th of July ceremonies, it used to be fired off over across the street at Cashman Field. And Cashman Field was a baseball field, and but it was a very cool they had a little outcropping there, and that's where they used to shoot off all the fireworks. So that was back in the 60s, guys. 60s, 70s, something like that. And then they decided that, hey, it'd be better off to have it as a city building, and so they tore down the park that was there, and they built the Grant Sawyer Building stuff. Very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about Veterans Day here in... I'll give you one more story about a veteran. This was actually very cool. Say Las Vegas veteran pursues his new career as a CNA after 30 years of retirement. And for those of you who don't know what a CNA is, my daughter is a CNA. And what they do is, let me make sure this is the same story. Yeah, so I think what it is, he's going into working with people. No, I'm not going to say what he does, okay? Because if I do and I get it wrong, somebody's going to call me on it. I hate that. People call you on it, they go, that's not a CNS. So I will tell you that this is, and I'm just reading this story for the first time. After retiring from military service after almost 30 years ago, Southern Nevada Air Force veteran Joseph Ortiz is starting a new career. Everything I dreamed of doing as a kid, I accomplished, he said. And he dedicated 22 years of his life to the service. And he decided he wanted to become a certified nursing assistant in 1995. That's when he decided he wanted to do that. But shortly afterwards, he chose to step away from his military career to care for sick family members. While Ortiz was no longer a certified nursing assistant, which is a CNA, he spent the last 3 decades caring for others. Okay, so he was in the Air Force and stuff like that, which is just admirable. Now he's 67, and he knew he needed to fast track his second career, so he's doing a 10-week program, and it's called Sandy. And so, very cool. Matter of fact, I thought about doing that as far as teaching school, because I have a degree in education, and I have a degree in counseling. So that's where. So I went to a theological seminary, and so my major was actually in counseling. My secondary was in education, adult education. So I thought about doing that too. You never know. You never know. You never know what things happen. But Mr. Ortiz did, and that's what he's doing, which is cool. And there's a lot of programs for veterans now, where veterans who want to go out and do other things with their lives or transition from the military field to the civilian field. And so it's very cool. Matter of fact, I was watching a show this morning. Excuse me. Folks, I do this all the time. So for those of you, this might be your first time watching me, I yawn all the time. I think what it is, it's a nervous thing that I do. Because I'm not really tired. I went out riding this morning, as a matter of fact. Put it this way. It was so cold this morning. It was cussing cold. Yeah. You know it's cold when you want to cuss. You want to say, yeah, it was that cold this morning. I went out this morning and I said, okay, let me see what I looked at my phone. Oh, it's going to be 45 degrees. Okay, so 45 degrees might be 45 here on your phone, but it is not 45 degrees here in your bones when you're riding a bike and you're riding down the street. And so which means it's probably more 35-ish because I ride about 18, 20 miles an hour. And going downhill, which I did this morning, I went down Cheyenne, and I'm at 30-something miles, 33, 35 miles an hour. Coming downhill, so you're at freezing for quite a while, and I'm just like, and I don't cuss. I just don't, as a rule, I just don't do that. But if I was thinking about it, I was thinking about it today. I was thinking, dear Lord, have mercy, what is wrong with me? And I almost said, boop. Okay, I almost said it, but I didn't. Back to veteran stuff, though. I was watching a show this morning, Black Rifle Coffee. The guys who started Black Rifle Coffee came out, and they talked about what they're doing. And I think they've invested almost $1 million this year for transitional programs and charity programs, that kind of stuff, that to help veterans, especially, first responders, veterans get back into, civilian life after coming out of service, military service for so many years. So very good. We're admirable. Speaking of that, before we go on to the election stuff, because I know you guys are just love talking about elections, is this weekend our church Family Worship Center is having our first annual what do they call it, yard sale. Yeah, so we're having it at 4000 Spring Road. That's it's right across Rancho from the Texas Station, so it's on the other side of Texas Station. 4000 Spring Road, and we're gonna have everything there. I mean, tools, clothing, furniture, all kinds of stuff. It's a multi-church event, so a couple of churches got together. And I want to thank the people who have donated, because we've actually had people donate too. We had a lot of stuff that we had from the church anyways that we're getting rid of. That we're sharing with the rest of the world. But we also had people donate to the church. And I want to give a special shout out to my brother Mike Zahara. Mikey. Mike and I are actually born on the same day. The same year. I know. He's born in Chicago. I was born in Jersey. And so we have this kindred spirit type thing. And so Mike Zahara, his mom passed away. And he was so generous to share some first stuff, which is just fantastic. So some cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. We only picked the cream of the crop. We're getting it to you. Okay. So that's tomorrow, starting about 8 o'clock in the morning, 4000 Spring Road. Okay, 4000 Spring Road. Come on out, folks, and get you some stuff for a multi-church event. It's a yard sale. So let's do this. Let's take a real quick break, and then what we'll do is we'll come back. When we come back, folks, we're going to talk about the elections and some of the stuff that's still up in the air, some races that are already over with, but we'll fill you in all on that stuff because it matters. It really does. Sherman Ray, this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Back in a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, and we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk to you about the people, places, trends, events that shape the city of Las Vegas. I know. I can have a deep voice if I really want to. So once again, I want to thank all the folks who are helping us out with our yard sale. And once again, we want to thank all the veterans that are out there who have just devoted in some life and limb, and some of them the ultimate sacrifice, their life. for the service of this country. Thank you so much. Fly your flags. Fly your flags today. Really just say, hey, thank you so much. These guys really deserve it. And my dad was a part of that. And some people ask me, they say, because they see a picture on my Facebook profile, and they say, hey, who's that picture of? Is that you or your dad? Well, that's actually my dad. Okay, yeah, I know I look a lot like my dad, but my dad was much better looking than I am. We both had kind of the same mustache, but mine's much thicker and more manly. Don't you think? So mine's much more manly than my dad's, but other than that, we look a lot alike. So I didn't even realize that until this morning. I have pictures of myself, of course, everywhere. But no, I have pictures of myself on occasion, and I put myself and my dad together, and I went, oh my gosh, I really do look a lot like my dad. So if you see a picture, it's my dad. In a military suit, anyways. So let's talk about the election, folks. So the elections were just a couple of days ago, and it was a huge turnout of people. It's been a huge turnout since early voting started on November 2nd. November 8th was the election, and people came out. We had probably the worst weather here in the city of Las Vegas that we've had in many, many years. And people still came out. They said, nope, going out, voting. And so now we're waiting on our election results here in the state of Nevada. So I can tell you that there have been a couple of people who have conceded the races and said, hey, look, that's just the way it's going to be. A North Las Vegas mayor, congratulations to Pamela Goings Brown. I know Pamela. She's a good friend of mine, thank you so much, Pamela, for being a friend. Pat Spearman, who is, I think Pat was assemblywoman. She conceded that race. It was a walkaway, so Pamela did a great job. So she's going to be the next North Las Vegas mayor. And she's got big shoes to fill because Mike Lee was the mayor there, and he kicked butt for 4 years. And Pamela's been, I think she's termed out. So this is actually her last term as she'll be able to, I think she's going to be able to be mayor for part of this year. I think it's something like that. It's not going to be the entire term. I don't think she's going to be able to serve the whole year because she was a city council person for North Las Vegas for a couple of terms, and people were saying, hey, well, how can she run now? So she's going to have to, put it this way, North Las Vegas mayor is going to be, it's going to be an open seat here pretty darn quick. So anyways, congratulations. Also, Sigal Chattah, she conceded her race to Aaron Ford. Yeah, so she was going to be the AG, so she conceded that race and there were a couple of others that look like they're pretty much a done deal. Here's the interesting thing about the elections, and I think many people are wondering about this, and it's very, very disconcerting, and it's very, very frustrating for some people, for a lot of people, that the way our elections go here in the state of Nevada, we have a certain procedure of the way things are going. And so I'll give you kind of an overview of what it is, and that way, if you're upset about it, folks, you can just, this maybe allay some of your frustrations, and some of you are just going to be pissed off. It's the way it is. We have early voting, we have mail-in ballots, and all of those things cannot start being counted until the last person who votes on November 8th voted. So that's why we did not start even showing any numbers on our voting at all until November 8th, after the last person who was voting on that day, November 8th, voted. Which means that we didn't start seeing anything until like 10:30 at night. I mean, it was just the most frustrating thing. Now, here's the thing about it. And even with that, so I'll come back to my other part of this. Even with us being able to vote and our counting our votes once the last person votes on November 8th, people had mail-in ballots. People had ballots that they put into the box on November 8th. I was one of those people, okay? Because it was raining, I didn't want to stand in line for ever an hour and a half in the cold because I'm Jamaican. We Jamaicans, folks, we just don't do cold. We don't do it. and I'm not ashamed of that. Okay, we don't do cold. I do heat very well. That's why I live in the desert. But I don't do cold really well. So I took my ballot. I took my wife's ballot. We signed the back, printed, signed it, put it in the box. I did it last time too, on the day of voting. So here's the problem with that, though. Okay, is those ballots, they have until like Saturday, which is tomorrow, to actually start counting all that stuff or to get those done, which means all of your votes right now, that's why you keep seeing these numbers change. You keep seeing these numbers change. Right now, Adam Laxalt is ahead of Catherine Cortez Masto in the voting for our Senate race. But those numbers keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller because the two biggest counties in Nevada, Washoe County and Clark County here in the South, predominantly in southern Nevada, it's predominantly Democrat. Up in northern Nevada, or actually the rest of the state, it's primarily conservative, so they're primarily Republicans. But the majority of the people live down here in southern Nevada, specifically in Clark County. So you keep seeing Adam Laxalt's lead go like this. And it keeps getting small because they're counting those ballots now. And so here's my idea. Okay, and this is my idea. I know I'm going to get people upset at me, but it's fine. We should have one day of voting. That's it. You vote on November 8th or whatever the election day might fall on, and if you don't vote on that day, your vote doesn't count. You can't mail in your vote unless you are a military person. I would say this, unless you are a military person or somebody out of the country, that's the only way you could mail in your ballot. Okay, because you have 4 years to vote for the big elections, but every 2 years for like Congress people. So you have 2 years to get down to that day. They have your ID and all that stuff ready to vote on that day. Okay, they should probably have, and this is something else that they probably should do. They should declare it a holiday to vote. Okay, so that day nobody does anything. You go vote on that day. Okay, I think that should be a national thing. This is why I say that, because when you see a vote of 50,000 people or a lead of 50,000 people go like this, and then by the time the election is all the way over, it goes like this, and the other guy wins, people get upset about that. And they have every reason to be upset, because what happens is you allow for bad things to happen. Okay, somebody could say, "Oh, I lost that handful of ballots. Oh, I found some ballots. Oh, or we just found a new batch of mail." Okay, no, stop the mail-in ballots completely. This is my opinion. Okay, and my opinion matters because I'm Jamaican. That you should have one day of voting. That's it. Okay, you should bring your ID because every cotton-picking American has a ID. You have to have it to get on a plane. You have to have it to get into a courthouse. You have to have it to drive a car. Okay, you have to have all these IDs, right? If you have to have an ID to rent a car or to even get Cox communication for your house, then you can have ID to vote. Okay, so that's my thing. Also, it is very easy to vote all of the ballots. You know why I know that? Because American Idol does it every week. Think about it. American Idol, the TV show, has people go, "I want to vote right now." Click, and they can tabulate 57 million votes in 1 hour. 1 hour. Okay? If American Idol can count 57 million or something like that million, I mean, it's literally 50 million votes in 1 hour, America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, okay? The land of the free man, and the home of the brave can count 100 million votes, if that's many people vote, in 1 day, in a 24-hour period of time, or in several hours, okay? So that's my thing. Okay, I think I've hammered that. I've hammered that. It's what I'm going to do. All right, so today is Veterans Day once again, folks. Get out there and go to the parade. Okay, it starts at 10 o'clock. And once again, we'll leave matter of fact, I'll leave the link to that right now. I'm going to leave it on our Facebook group page. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now, folks. So some of you really want to go to this. Here, I'm going to leave that link. I wonder, so Facebook doesn't like to share. Maybe it'll do it. Let's find it. I'm going to see if it'll let me do it right now. Okay. So I'm going to put it on our Facebook group page. There it is. And I'll let them see, hey, here's a, and I'm going to say, go out to the Veterans Day Parade. And that's what I'm writing, okay? All right, so, and I'm sharing that right now to our Facebook group page. So if you're on our group page, you'll actually see this pop up any second now, okay? And really enjoy it. Enjoy the parade. It should be really cool. And I think you'll really enjoy that, okay? Anyways, folks, this is Sherman Ray. And we've been so glad to be a part of your lives. We've been over a year on this podcast, and we want to thank you all for being a part of it. We got probably some announcements next week concerning the podcast and moving forward. So enjoy your day. Hug a veteran today, folks, or even better, if the veteran's gone, hug his family. Okay, hug his family, which means I'm going to expect a hug from everybody today because my papa and my sister are veterans. Okay. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Livin in Vegas podcast. Thank you, folks, so much for being a part of the show. We will see you again Monday, where we'll talk about the people, the places, the trends, and events that shape the city of Las Vegas, baby. When you think of living in Vegas, think living local and the return of cool. We'll see you later, folks. Bye-bye.